she apparently started accusing me of complicity in Charlie Kirk's murder. And this is part of her ongoing crusade to somehow make this about the Jewish people. So Candace accused me of complicity there, and I've been dealing with horrific anti-Semites and neo-Nazis, as you can imagine, because
that was going to be my question. How is this impacting your life now that you are in the middle of this, obviously?
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Warriors, we are going to be talking about Candace Owens could possibly be involved in another lawsuit with Josh Hammer. That is what I'll be talking about today on Chat with me, Linda B. All right, Warriors, you know what to do. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select all notifications. Stick around to the very end. You're not going to want to miss this. Let's get going. All right, so Candace Owens could find herself in the middle of another lawsuit. She is accusing a friend of Charlie Kirk by the name of Josh Hammer of being complicit in Charlie Kirk's assassination. Now, I've already done videos on Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. Now, she seems to be going down this really psychopathic path of this conspiracy land, always coming forth with crazy stuff. Now, some other information has come out that shows that Charlie Kirk was only in a moment of frustration when those text messages in that app came out, the one that Candace Owens shared, where he said, "I have no choice. I don't want to be bullied. I'm thinking about pulling or stepping away from the pro-Israel cause." He was just, according to Josh Hammer, in a moment of frustration. Now, I am going to read some information to you. This is coming by way of Grok. I'm not going to share it, but you can just simply look it up. I put in the question about, is Candace Owens going after Josh Hammer? Yes, Candace Owens is aggressively targeting Josh Hammer, a conservative commentator and senior editor at Newsweek, in a heated public feud that escalated in early October 2025. The conflict stems from Owens' conspiracy-laden claims about the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA and a former colleague of Owens, where she has accused Hammer of being involved in suppressing Kirk's legacy, lying about his views, and even implying complicity in his death. Now, she has gone too far. This has drawn widespread backlash within conservative circles, with Hammer responding forcefully on October 12, 2025, calling her accusations deranged and threatening legal action. So she could find herself in another lawsuit, depending on what Josh Hammer says. Now, you see that he is a conservative commentator. He is Jewish. Okay, he's also an attorney. Okay, so this woman has gone literally off the rails. Now, I want to also share with you something on the Daily Mail as well concerning this very same thing. Now, this again is coming from Daily Mail. It was just published about 3 or 4 days ago. Right-wing provocateur Candace Owens may soon find herself in new legal trouble as she continues to raise questions about Charlie Kirk's assassination last month. Owens, an independent podcaster and former Turning Point USA employee, has been generating theories about the motives, figures, and even nations she believes may be behind the murder of Kirk. While many of those ideas have been centered around Turning Point itself, last week Owens shared text messages between the late Charlie Kirk and his friend Josh Hammer, a podcaster and editor at Newsweek, in which Kirk expressed frustration over his organization losing the support of Jewish donors in his final days. Turning Point spokesperson Andrew Colbert later confirmed the authenticity of the screenshots released by Owens. And it also says Owens' dissemination of Hammer and Kirk's messages was seen by many, including Hammer, as a way to tie him to Kirk's death, and even suggest that Hammer was somehow complicit or responsible for the act. Hammer noted on X Monday that he was offline last week for a Jewish holiday and came back online to see a well-known mental patient accuse me of complicity in a friend's murder. Hammer is now considering taking legal actions against Owens, which could pile on to the legal battle she is already fighting with French President Emmanuel Macron over claims that his wife Bridget was born a biological male. So these are things, and this is Charlie Kirk with his wife Erica. Here is Candace Owens. They call her the provocateur, and this is by way of the Daily Mail. So I am just really not liking Candace Owens these days. I'm not liking what's coming out of her mouth. I don't know her personally. I mean, I don't like this. Now, Josh Hammer was on that thread of text messages where Charlie Kirk was saying he's thinking about stepping away from the Israel cause. Josh Hammer was on that text thread. Okay, now I am going to show you something else. This is a little clip and then another clip where, you know, these are podcasters, certainly, where Josh Hammer is explaining more about this very thing. Let's watch.
You know, I'm talking to lawyers. I think I'm a lawyer by background. I clerked for a federal appeals judge. I know a thing or two about United States constitutional law. I think that we have a potentially serious case here for defamation, and I'm very much speaking with lawyers, and we'll see what happens.
She is lying in a way that is resonating with people in a way that damages you significantly.
Yeah, it's just so evil. I mean, Charlie was a good friend of mine. I mean, I've known him for 5-6 years, give or take, but we really became close over the final year and a half of his life. We were in daily communication. You know, I don't actually know precisely the extent to which he and Candace communicated in the final year or two, but she very much was on the outs of Turning Point USA, and my understanding is that they were not in touch at all. I mean, maybe kind of a happy birthday kind of here or there, but not close touch. Horrific assassination when it came to his thoughts on Islam. You know, Charlie was a vociferous critic of Islam. I agreed with what he said on Islam, actually, but why was there no grand debate on that? Why was there no grand debate on his thoughts on illegal immigration or this or that? No, it immediately focused on this debate over whether his thoughts were quote unquote evolving on U.S.-Israel relations and on Jewish-Christian relations. And among the things that has happened is we all saw very recently Candace Owens acquired a screenshot from this small WhatsApp chat that I was in with Charlie Kirk. There were 7 or 8 people. I was one of them. Charlie was one of them, a few of his producers, and a couple of others. And Candace acquired these screenshots. Andrew Colvett, the executive producer of the Charlie Kirk Show, admitted that he shared the screenshots with certain people in government as part of an ongoing investigation. And somehow the messages got from the government to Candace Owens. That's a little disturbing, to be honest with you. So we'll have to figure out how exactly that happened. And Candace Owens seized on this totally out of context screenshot of Charlie Kirk being very upset that a Jewish donor was withholding his $2 million donation. And she used this as an attempt to say, oh, Josh Hammer's lying, that Charlie Kirk remained pro-Israel until his final moments.
Yeah.
But she's also holding aside that 2 hours after this screenshot, if you look at the timestamps, 2 hours after that, I and a few others were in a small Zoom chat, a small Zoom call with Charlie Kirk the night before he was killed that Charlie organized. Charlie organized this Zoom call for the express purpose of trying to make sure that he had all the best answers, the best messaging advice for how to speak about Jewish-Christian relations and the Israel question on college campuses. Because as Charlie told me, in the final couple of years of his life, especially after October 7th, something like 50%, 50 of the question, 50% of the questions that he got on these campus tours was about Israel, which again is like another data point that makes you go, what the heck is happening out there? But Charlie wanted to make sure that he had the best ammunition possible to respond to the keffiyeh-clad crazies who went out there on these college campuses there. So Candace Owens' whole timeline is off. And then even after that, earlier this week, when I was offline for the Jewish holiday of Sukkot, she apparently started accusing me of complicity in Charlie Kirk's murder. And this is part of her ongoing crusade to somehow make this about the Jewish people. So Candace accused me of complicity there, and I've been dealing with horrific anti-Semites and neo-Nazis, as you can imagine, because crawling.
That was going to be my question. How is this impacting your life now that you are in the middle of this, obviously?
Yeah. Look, it's been a torrent of replies and quote tweets and people sliding into my DMs, so to speak, on social media. I don't really read any of the DMs. I don't really read any of the tweets. I immediately just mute and delete and move on. I'm certainly speaking with lawyers because I think I'm a lawyer, Billy, as you may or may not recall myself. So we'll do a little more digging into that and see whether or not I ultimately decide to bring a case there. Look, above all, what I'm most concerned with, of course, as a husband and father, is my family. You know, thankfully, I live in Florida, and you know, Florida law enforcement is aware of all this, and they are just generally amazing. But it will not shut me up, Billy. It will absolutely not shut me up. I mean, this sort of stuff will never ever shut me up. They're trying to get me to just to stop talking, and they're trying to get me to confess or concede that Charlie Kirk was actually quote unquote turning on Israel, whatever they think they want me to do. I'm not going to do it.
Well, you see that Candace Owens is running her mouth about saying that this man is complicit. Now, you know, I don't know whether he is or isn't. Okay, I just heard of Josh Hammer in less than 48 hours. I've heard of his name. Not familiar with him at all. Okay, but according to him, he said a few hours after the text thread that Candace was promoting, so he was in another call, a Zoom call with Charlie Kirk, preparing for how to answer questions. So he had not left the pro-Israel cause, according to Josh Hammer. According to Josh Hammer, it was a moment of frustration, which it sounded like. I mean, it really sounded like somebody who was just frustrated in the moment. Okay, a lot of times people just have their moments because we're human, we're dealing with a lot. He's going all over the world, he's dealing with donors, he's got a multi-million-dollar business that he is running, and it operates on donors and donations, and he just got frustrated, which is what I thought anyway. But even before I even heard of Josh Hammer, I said, that sounds like a moment of frustration. That doesn't really sound like someone who is really leaving the cause. You know, Candace Owens is going to push what Candace Owens pushes. She's already dealing with another legal battle with the president of France and his quote unquote wife, the Macrons. Now, I question some things about that, but I'm not going to be pushing anything because I don't want to get into trouble. I don't want to get into trouble. I don't want to get into any trouble. But I will say that I hope the truth comes out. Whoever's complicit in what happened to Charlie Kirk, I pray that the truth comes out. Now, Candace Owens, you are really digging a hole for yourself. You are. You're in what could be two legal battles. I mean, Josh Hammer has not said explicitly whether or not he's going forward with this. He's considering it, and he is speaking with lawyers right now. She is going to, you know, the Bible says pride comes before a fall. To me, Candace Owens seems very arrogant. She's very narcissistic. She thinks she's the smartest person in the room. She's spewing out these conspiracy theories. She has a huge audience. I think she has 5 million plus followers on YouTube alone. And yet she is finding herself in these legal battles, okay? She's finding herself in legal battles. She could be in a second legal battle. I suggest you be very careful, Candace Owens. Tread lightly, because you appear, and this is just my opinion, that you have a lot of hate in your heart. You have listened to the wrong information. You were on that Piers Morgan show. I just did a video on her saying that Candace Owens and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson working for the devil. I said, are they working for the devil? That's on the thumbnail. You guys check that out if you haven't already. But in my opinion, she is. She is causing legal trouble for herself. You have to be careful. You can't just say things like that. You are accusing this man of murdering his friend. His friend, according to him, they were close. He known him about 5 or 6 years. In the past year or year and a half, they had gotten really close, and you are accusing him of having something to do with his death. That is something that is something you should leave to investigators. And you should not. I don't know whether or not Josh had something to do with it or not. I don't know him. You know, I just don't know him. I don't want to believe that. I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know. But that is something that should be left for investigators. Okay, I want to believe that Candace is just tripping, that this man is completely innocent, and he should go after her. He should. If he's innocent, he should definitely go after Candace Owens for spreading lies. And you already got this high anti-Semitic, everywhere I look. Anti-Semitism is spreading. This man is Jewish. He's Jewish, and he's getting all this hate mail. He's getting all of these hateful DM direct messages, and it's people like Candace spreading this. She has a huge audience. Man, someone like that, someone like Candace Owens is, to me, she's doing a lot of damage. It's just an opinion. She should not be doing this. Okay. This man more than likely is innocent. More than likely. Like I said, I don't know him. I'm not accusing him of anything. Certainly not. I don't know him. But more than likely, he's probably innocent. And this is just the act of a Tyler Robinson, which FBI evidence has shown that it just points directly to Tyler Robinson. All the evidence does. But you guys let me know what you think about this latest thing. Candace Owens could be involved in another lawsuit. If you like this content, go ahead and give me the thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, select all notifications. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.